evening, Sputnik. Thanks so much for your time. Current situation, did the opening of those sluice gates yesterday, and I believe more today, have an impact and help the volumes at the Vaal Dam?
Well, thank you very much, Sally. Yes, we did open 2 sluice gates yesterday, but we also made a decision to open another one this morning. So at the moment, we have about 5 sluice gates that are open at Vaal Dam. Because by this morning, the Vaal Dam was at about 108.5%, which was an increase of over 3% from yesterday. So we really are seeing a lot of inflows, and that has got to be managed. And so that is part of what we are doing with the opening of those sluice gates.
All right. So am I understanding it correctly that it was at 108 odd on Monday, and despite opening 2 sluice gates on Monday, it didn't make too much of a difference? In fact, it got fuller. Am I right? Because there's obviously so much water.
Yes,
in the
system. It was slightly lower yesterday on Monday. It was 108.5 this morning. And by this morning, 9:30, we saw that it had increased by about 3.2%. So it has been quite a substantial increase. And we really had to make sure that, because we are seeing as well that there will be more rains in the next few days, we needed to make sure that we manage the levels in the dam currently so that we can accommodate the next inflows.
Talk to me about what was happening downstream. So there was the sluice gates opened again today to sort of deal with the capacity of the overcapacity at the Vaal Dam. Were residents incapacitated in any way, or are they used to this by now? Was there serious flooding problems?
I don't think we can ever get used to it, Sally, because, when it happens, it always gets almost like worse than the last time. The residents were informed quite in time, and they began to move from quite early. And that helps, because if we do not work together where, when the notice goes out that people should be evacuated, then they don't do so. But in this instance, I think they've been working very well with the emergency services and the municipalities, because definitely the Vaal River downstream of the Vaal Dam has risen, and it's continuing to rise. We are also seeing quite a huge amount of water coming through the Orange River, and we are watching very closely, what will happen at the confluence. Remember, the 2 rivers then meet in the town of Douglas before the Orange then flows through the Northern Cape towards Namibia and so on. So we are really watching this almost every minute, so that we are not taken by surprise, and we can be able to take care of our infrastructure as well.
So you have to let the water out of the dam. It's a kind of controlled release, but it still floods the banks of the river. Have I got it right?
You have got it right. It's a controlled release, because it is informed by certain activities within the system. And at the moment, the Vaal Orange River system is really receiving a lot of water. And therefore, we have to take those decisions. The same thing applies, because remember, when we release from the Vaal Dam, it then impacts on the Vaal River towards the Vaal Barrage, and then goes on to Bloemhof. And that is where you've been seeing a lot of activity in the towns of Bloemhof and Christiana, because that is where the river really has risen extensively.
I wonder if you could tell us about other dams. You mentioned Bloemhof, and the dam there is also overcapacity, from what I've been reading. What can we expect in the coming days? Are we going to see dams like Hartbeespoort, for example? What's the situation there? You say there's a lot of water in the system and more rain likely?
Yes, there is more rain likely according to the weather services. When we look at our biggest dam, for instance, the Harib, which is in the Free State, it was also at 105.9. But remember that because of the size of the Harib, at a capacity of 105, really, we're still way off being very concerned. But that obviously is not the same, is not similar for other smaller dams. When we look at some of the other dams, as you are asking, you know, you look at it's a mixed bag, because on the one side you have dams that have really picked up in terms of recharge, and on the other side you still find those that are still struggling. When you look at, for instance, in the Western Cape, fuel flay is kind of tapering off. It's at 88.3 as of this morning. When we look at Katsi, for instance, in Lesotho, remember it is one of the two dams that are in the Lesotho Highlands Water Project, and very, very important. It has, topped up the 100% as well, which is a very good sign considering the drought that has been in the area for the last 2 years and so on. So we are seeing quite a healthy movement from other dams. We still have concerns. There are pockets of concerns for us, like for instance, some areas in the Eastern Cape which are very well communicated, and some, of course, in the other provinces, but not as much as in the Eastern Cape.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that update. Much appreciated. Sputnik Ratau, Water and Sanitation spokesperson.